Have you ever found yourself watching the stock market tick up and down, thinking, if I just pay close enough attention, I could really build some serious wealth doing this? It is a super tempting thought. Welcome to Dollar Playbook, everyone. I'm Taylor Reed. Today, we're going to look right past the heavily marketed hype of active trading and break down the quiet mathematical truth about how ordinary people actually get rich. So let's just dive right in. Day trading and market timing are easily some of the most heavily promoted activities in all of retail finance. You see the screenshots on social media, you hear the wild success stories, and you naturally start to wonder, what actually happens when you roll up your sleeves and try to beat the market? Does all that hustle actually pay off, or is it just a mirage? Well, to find out, we're going to run a little experiment together over a 30-year timeline. All right, part 1. Meet Tyler, Greg, and Ryan. 3 strategies, 1 goal. To keep things completely fair here, we're going to follow 3 friends. They're all 30 years old, they live in the exact same city, they're in the same tax bracket, and they each earn $75,000 a year. Most importantly, they all share the exact same goal: building real wealth to retire comfortably at age 60. To do this, each of them invests exactly $1,000 a month into a regular brokerage account. Same starting line, same money. The only difference? Their strategy. Tyler decides he's absolutely going to beat the market. He learns to read the complex charts. He's glued to his screen before the opening bell, buying and selling on the exact same day. He's making hundreds of trades a year. Greg, on the other hand, takes the middle path. He's a swing trader. He holds positions for a few days, maybe weeks, mostly just checking his charts in the evenings. And then there's Ryan. Ryan's strategy is totally boring. He buys one low-cost S&P 500 index fund every single month, which basically just represents the whole U.S. stock market, and then he literally just closes the app. No charts, zero timing. Moving on to part 2, the illusion of winning and why trading feels so incredibly good. For those first couple of years, Tyler looks like the absolute genius of the group. He hits a hot streak, right? He's up 4% on weeks when Greg and Ryan are totally flat. He's sending screenshots of his best days to the group chat, bragging about his edge, and feeling amazing because he's actually out there doing something. Meanwhile, absolutely nothing exciting is happening on Ryan's screen. So, on that scoreboard Tyler checks every Friday, he is absolutely winning. It feels incredible. But this beautifully illustrates a core truth in finance. Feelings and math are 2 very, very different things. Doing something naturally feels better than doing nothing. For a lot of us, that sense of control is a very real human need. But there is a massive difference between feeling like a winner in the short term and actually building wealth over the long term. Day trading is fantastic at delivering the feeling, but it almost never delivers the wealth. Which brings us to part 3, the hidden math of trading and the invisible leaks. To understand why Tyler's winning feeling is just an illusion, we have to pull back the curtain a bit. We need to look at the invisible math that Wall Street has understood for decades, but that Tyler's flashy trading app conveniently forgot to mention. There are silent leaks constantly draining Tyler's wealth, and honestly, the market doesn't even have to beat him. His own trading is doing the job for free. These hidden forces really come down to 3 things. First, taxes. Second, the friction of trading, meaning the spread between buy and sell prices and those occasional pesky fees. When Tyler turns his whole account over 20 times a year, roughly 2% of his money quietly evaporates into friction before he makes a single dollar of profit. And third, the brutal statistical reality. Studies consistently show that roughly 8 out of 10 day traders actually lose money. But you know what? Let's be generous today. Let's assume Tyler is in that top 20% who actually turn a profit. We'll give him the absolute most optimistic outcome. Even with that super generous assumption, Tyler hits a massive wall, and here is exactly why. Every single winning trade he makes and sells inside of a year is classified as a short-term capital gain. This means it isn't taxed at those nice, favorable long-term investment rates. It is taxed as ordinary income, exactly like his paycheck. Earning $75,000 a year puts him in the 22% federal tax bracket. So every single winning trade hands roughly a fifth of the gain straight to the IRS that very same year, long before it ever has the chance to compound and grow for him. Part 4, the 30-year scoreboard, a timeline of wealth. Let's fast forward and track the real scoreboard over 30 years. We've got our 3 guys, all investing the same $1,000 a month, but experiencing wildly different mathematical realities. Watch how the gap between them quietly opens up over the decades. By year 5, the gap opens, but it's really quiet. Tyler has about $63,000, while Ryan has $75,000. It's close enough that Tyler still feels like he's basically tying. But by year 10, the lines really start to separate. Tyler is at $134,000, but Ryan? He's sitting comfortably at $192,000. Tyler is nearly $60,000 behind the guy who never even opened his app, but he has no idea because he's only comparing his wins to his own past month, not to Ryan. By year 15, it's not even a competition anymore. Ryan pulls massively ahead to $373,000, while Tyler is trailing way behind at $213,000. The absolutely crucial point happens right here at the 30-year mark. They're all 60 years old now. They've all invested exactly $360,000 out of their own pockets over the years. Tyler, the frantic day trader, lands at $511,000. Greg, our swing trader, gets to $812,000. And Ryan, the guy who bought one boring index fund and just let it sit, he lands at $1.77 million. Ryan ends up with over $1 million more than the guy who literally treated the stock market like a full-time job. And remember, that was the generous version of Tyler's returns. Ryan wins purely because his money compounded completely untouched by taxes and friction for 3 whole decades. Now for part 5, the ultimate hidden cost, the currency you just can't earn back. The financial loss we just looked at is staggering, for sure, but it's actually not the worst part of Tyler's strategy. There is one final devastating cost that never ever shows up on a tax return or a brokerage statement. We've measured all of this in dollars so far, but now we have to measure it in the one single currency you can never get back. $60,000. I really want that number to just sink in for a second. Over 30 years, Tyler spent hours every morning prepping, hours watching the market during the workday, and hours reviewing charts at night. That's roughly 2,000 hours a year. Over 3 decades, that equates to 60,000 hours of his life. Let's look at this side by side, because this brilliantly and kind of sadly illustrates the real tragedy here. Tyler spent 60,000 hours, literally the equivalent of a second entire full-time career, just to finish in last place. Greg spent about 10,000 hours and finished second. Ryan spent maybe 4 hours a year making his simple automated purchases. That is roughly 120 hours, or about 3 working weeks, over his entire lifetime. Think about that. The man who spent 3 total weeks finished first with over $1 million more in wealth. Tyler paid 60,000 hours of his one precious life just for the privilege of losing. Part 6. How to build real wealth, the playbook. So, what should we all take away from this? The goal here definitely isn't to make you feel bad if you enjoy trading. It's to help you protect your financial future. Let's move to the practical side and see how we can build this into a simple, everyday strategy you can actually use. Let's look at the real playbook for everyday wealth. Step 1. Build your core wealth and low-cost index funds during your working years. This is your boring, reliable engine. It naturally minimizes taxes, lowers your costs, and gives you broad diversification. Step 2. If you genuinely love the thrill of trading, hey, that's okay, but wall it off. Take a maximum of 5% of your portfolio and treat it as casino money. Ideally, you do this inside a Roth IRA, a tax-free retirement account, so taxes don't compound the damage. But never let your fund touch the 95% that's actually building your future. And step 3, measure your scoreboard honestly. Seriously compare your trading returns and the time you spend on it against what a simple index fund would have done. The ultimate trap for Tyler was never the act of trading itself. The trap was mistaking activity for progress. He felt like he was winning, and that specific feeling cost him a fortune and a second lifetime of hours. Remember, the stock market does not pay you for your effort or your stress. For the vast majority of us, it simply pays for patience. So think about your own strategy for a minute. Are you working way too hard for less? Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. If you found this explainer helpful, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Dollar Playbook so we can keep bringing you clear, practical strategies to build your stable life. I'm Taylor Reed. I'll see you next time.